What is going on, my fishy friends? A very lovely, happy holidays to all of our viewers out there, wherever you may be watching from. Super excited tonight to have Eddie Weber, the Severn River angler, in to do the Pickerel report. But a couple quick announcements. What's going on, Rodney Green? How are you, brothers? Always good to have you come join us. Couple quick announcements. First of all, prize of the night is $25 off a pair of Hook Optics. Hook Optics also provided Crazy Horse here with these wonderful spectacles that don't provide glare off of these the studio lighting, so you can actually see my beautiful blue eyes. So $25 off. They have you can go to hookoptics.com. They've got 3 stores: an Optical Galleria in Centerville, Easton, and Ocean City. But you can go online and shop. They literally are the best fishing eyewear you can get on the market, period. Other announcements are we are still doing the GoFundMe promotion for Lakeland Draheim. She's a young lady that lives over on the eastern shore of Maryland that's suffering from an aggressive form of brain cancer. If you want to contribute to that, and we urge you to do so in this holiday season, it's not too late. If you want to do that, go to Lakeland, search Lakeland Strong on Facebook, and contribute to that GoFundMe page. Just, even a few dollars would make a huge difference in the life of this little girl and her family. One of our sponsors of the show, and my fishing buddy, me and Lady C go fishing with this guy all the time, is Robert Figliozzi of Third Generation Plumbing. I don't know where you guys are, but here in the Delmarva region, it's about to get really cold. I think Christmas Day is going to feel like Christmas. It's going to get down to like 20 degrees as a high, and we're going to bring in Fig, also known as Robert Figliozzi, to give us a few tips on that, what to do with your pipes and things. But Fig, first of all, tell us a little bit about Third Generation Plumbing.
Well, it's been a family business for over 60 years, and it started out just ceramic tile and bathroom remodeling, and then I got heavily into plumbing, and I married into a plumbing family. So we kind of merged a couple different businesses together, and now we are a full-fledged construction company. So we don't just do plumbing; we pretty much do everything. I don't generally solicit that like to everyone, but we do. We do all kinds of work. I know. Well, so we're Maryland Home Improvement Contractors, / plumbing and ceramic tile.
Awesome. Well, Fig, tell us a little bit about, with this cold weather coming in, and we're going to talk about how this cold weather affects the fishing bite, which I know you and I are very interested in. But tell us about, with this cold weather coming in, what people should do to protect their property and their investments.
Yeah, well, that's very, very important now. So as you know, the weatherman has just told us that we're going to have below freezing temperatures, like maybe 5 consecutive days in a row, something like that. So obviously that's always a big problem. But on the, to add to that, there's the wind. So the wind and the cold temperatures, that is usually a big problem. Even for people that have never had a frozen pipe in their house, this would be the time that you could have one. What ends up happening is the wind blows that cold air into a little tiny crease that's somewhere that you don't know about, that may have just happened in the last 6 months or whatever, your house settles or whatever. And even if people say, oh, my house is new and it's well insulated. Well, sometimes that can be worse because the wind blows the cold air in. It gets stuck in between those walls where the pipes are. So it's like a little freezer in there. So basically, you think everything's okay. Your pipes are freezing. You don't realize it. Sometimes you do realize it if you go turn the spigot on and nothing comes out. You're like, what just happened? That's because it's frozen. Then, by then it's too late. The pipe splits. When the temperature warms up again, that's when you have a flood. And the worst thing that can happen is if you're on vacation or you go out of town or you go to visit your relatives and, you don't think about all this. And then you come back to a flooded house, like majorly, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage.
Well, we don't want that. So what
No.
do people do to keep that from happening?
Right. Well, I know everybody, doesn't always listen because that's what keeps me in business, but I would like to try to help people because, you don't want to throw your money away. So here's the story. What you can do is go through your house and open up the cabinet doors. The vanity doors in your bathroom, open them up, both of them. I'm going to like that. Open them up. All right. The kitchen vanity, open it up. Meaning any of the cabinets in your house, open them up, especially if there's pipes in there. The other thing that you can do, obviously, remove all the hoses from your outside spigots. If you have a valve in your house, turn the valve off. Go outside, turn the spigot on, let the water drain out, and then turn it back off. Don't leave it open, even though you shut the water off inside, because the cold air will come right up the pipe like a train track, and it can still freeze inside your house. So make sure you turn the valve off. If you're really, really worried about things and you're like in an old house, believe it or not, sometimes you have like an access panel in a closet. You can actually take that panel off just for the winter, or maybe just loosen it. It lets the hot air from your house go into those walls, and it lets the cold air that could be trapped in there, it allows it to come out. Yes, your heating bill may be a little bit worse, but trust me, it's a lot less expensive to pay that extra heating bill than it is to pay for a disaster. So turn up your heat also a little bit. Some people say, oh, well, I'm just going to turn my outside spigot and let it drip. I mean, that doesn't really solve the problem. If it's really cold, that can freeze anyway. Us fishermen know, because even on rivers and moving water, you still see it freeze. Like sometimes may not be all the way across, but it still freezes even though it's moving. So.
Well, thanks for all that advice. Once people don't listen to your advice and they have this massive problem, how do they get in touch with Third Generation Plumbing so that you guys can come out and help them out?
Well, I'll tell you, we have a lot of different phone numbers. I guess the most important number would be my direct emergency number, which is 301-440-0663. And like I said,
301-440-0663.
That is correct. Yes, and it's Third Generation Ceramic Tile and Plumbing and Figliozzi Tile, Soprano Plumbing. We answer to a lot of different names. We're mainly in the Bowie, Crofton area, but we go a pretty good 30-mile radius from that area.
Well, guys, I've been around Fig to know how hard he works and how hard he works to make sure that all of his customers are happy. If you guys have any need or anything that needs to be done for your plumbing, for your tile, don't hesitate to reach out to that number and contact Fig on the number below at 301-440-0663. Fig, thanks so much for taking the time to come in and give us these tips to make sure that people's plumbing and pipes are taken care of.
No problem. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks to you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's jump right into the Pickerel Fishing Report with Eddie Weber. How you doing, sir?
Hey, man. How you doing? I'm doing good.
You're on the road, I understand. Is that correct?
I am. I'm in the in a hotel in Cumberland. We we did the Polar Express train in West Virginia this afternoon with the family. So
I'm sure the kids are loving that.
on the road, yeah, it's their first big staying at a hotel, so they're pumped. They're upstairs watching a movie.
I was about to say, are they dying to get on the camera with you?
Yeah, no, I put them upstairs. I said, no, you'll be on my lap.
This is daddy time, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, let's just dive right into it. I sort of communicate with you informally, off the show.
Yeah.
But I know you've had some success recently, so let's dive right into that.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I'm kind of getting into the red tide that happened a couple weeks ago, but went out Sunday with a buddy, and we did. It was kind of hit or miss in spots. When we found them, we got a couple in each creek, but you had to keep moving. You pick off one at a down tree or off a point, and then kind of keep moving around. We did find one nice school at the way back of a creek that we probably caught 5 or 6 out of this little pocket, which was cool because they will kind of school up when they find that kind of perfect water, or they're all chasing bait. So it's been good.
That's an interesting thing that you point out, because I think a lot of people, that may be new to the pickerel fishery, probably have a lot of questions about stuff like that. And one of them, that you just kind of answered, which is, do pickerel school up? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely think they do. I've caught 5, 6, 7, 8 off of a point one time, kind of suspended altogether, where you just keep throwing in, and man, you feel like you keep catching the same fish because they're all the same 8, about the same size. But yeah, they definitely do. And if you saw Sean Kimbrough posted it earlier this week about pulling 19 out of a 10-foot hole. So they find those kind of perfect little spots that they want to be in. And, it's tough to find those big schools like that, but yes, they definitely do school up. So, if I find one off a tree or off a point, I definitely keep casting in there a couple more times to see if there's more hiding in there.
And something, Eddie, that you taught us, and we've already got some questions coming in, so let me get my dumb questions out of the way so our audience can ask their smart questions here in a second. But a couple of things you taught me that I found to be really interesting was, they're not always going to be in there in shallow water sunning, right? I think that
right
as like a bass fisherman or even like a snakehead fisherman, right?
Right.
Cast into shore on that structure and expect to see them in 1 to 2 feet of water. That's not always the case, is it?
Right. Yeah. Especially when it starts getting really cold, like our temperatures coming up and that have been pretty cold here recently. When you think about it, the water in the morning by the shore is actually colder than the water out in 5 or 6 feet. So they'll be more out at the end of docks or like in that 4 to 7 foot range rather than right on the shore. If it really is a full swing, if you wake up and it's 30 degrees in the morning and it's 55 in the afternoon they'll be pretty shallow because that water will warm up. But when it's cold and pretty consistently cold, they stay in that 5 to 7 foot range a lot more than in the shallows.
And another thing that I've sort of gathered just from the information you share with me, you haven't come out and directly said it, but it seems like the pickerel prefer a smaller profile bait. I was out with Robert Fitzjosie the other day, and he did pretty well with like a 4-inch kind of X-Wrap style jerk bait. But it seems like almost everything that you use and you've been effective with is 4 inches or less.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that. It was one of my tips on Tuesday that I put out each week. And now, especially when it gets cold, I'm 3-inch paddle tails, 3.5 maybe. Those just smaller profiles. The torpedo spin from high octane with It's really a 3.5-inch grub that you can cut down, cut the tail off, and makes it like 3 inches. Put the spinner on there, and yeah, they. I don't know why you would think that, you'd get more more bites off of bigger baits because they're more lethargic, but I find that the downsizing definitely helps.
So that's great information. Let's get into one of our audience questions. Rodney Green asks, "What is your favorite lure and color or bait for pickerel?"
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, and probably my top lure and what I've caught the biggest fish on is the torpedo spin from High Octane, and with a pink color. I don't know why, but I've caught probably 9 of my 10 biggest pickerel with that pink spinner off the back, the torpedo spin, a white body, and a white and pink head from GI Jigs, the pink lady. And that combo, for some reason, just it kills it. I was going. My buddy on Sunday went out. He likes to use minnows more, and I was throwing a lot of artificial. He was throwing a lot of minnows, and we were coming up, pretty much tied. I think I got it maybe by 1 or 2 at the end, but it was pretty cold, and for artificial to beat the minnows was interesting.
That's awesome. That's great stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I was telling Fig the other day when we were fishing, I was like, man, I to me, and this is a personal thing, I just don't consider watching a bobber over a minnow to be fishing anymore. I can't do it.
Right.
I could do it when I was a kid, when all I want, I mean, when, all I want to do is get my hands on a fish. I just can't do it now. So.
I know. No, I was throwing a couple minnows out there. I had a couple under a bobber. But you know what's actually being more successful? My buddy that was with me, so he would have just like a little jig head, like a shad dart, and a little weight on just right above it. He would throw that out while we were kind of drifting and let that bounce off the bottom.
Oh, just dead stick it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much dead sticking it, and then he was casting a minnow to shore. And jigging it back. So he probably was like 50-50 on what they caught, but actually the minnow under the bobber wasn't as good because they were really hugging the bottom of the ground. And
sure.
I mean, he caught one that was probably 20 feet off a dock. I mean, it must have been in 12 feet of water, which is pretty rare.
Yeah. We got a question coming in from M.R. Johnson. I believe I'm saying that right. That's not Mr. Johnson. I think that's actually M.R. Johnson. He says, "Are any ice starting in those backwaters?" And I can answer that question, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any yet. I wasn't out since Sunday, so I haven't seen any yet. I think there was at the top of the Severn, and I did see a couple reports on the Magathy of some ice, but not too much yet. Did you see any when you were out this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not on the Magathy, but on the Severn. I mean, my fishing buddy caught a pickerel, probably a 22 incher, right by a huge sheet of ice. I mean, we were kind of joking around. You know how when you're fishing in shallows, sometimes you can intentionally throw it up on the bank.
Right.
Hit it off the bank. We were doing that with the ice.
Yeah, there you
go.
Throw
it on the ice and then just kind of nudge it over and drop it off. He didn't catch it that way. There was the boat was sitting in a creek and we saw ice to the starboard side, and he caught the fish to the port side of the boat.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's lots of sheets of ice and lots of creeks that we couldn't get all the way in the back of.
Oh man,
I didn't want to repeat the Titanic.
Yeah, that's tough. People don't target the main stem of the river a lot, but when it gets icy like that, they'll be out in the main stem of the river. So don't shy away from those docks and stuff in the main stem of the Magathy, Patapsco, Severn. I've caught a good amount there, and probably less fish, but they're often pretty big fish too.
So let's let me walk you through a scenario that we can probably use to break down a lot of questions. And guys, if you want to have a shot at the $25 off of Hook Optics or any glasses at an optical gallery, if you've got a kid that needs a new pair of glasses, you can use the $25 off of that. Excuse me. Get your questions in. But all right, Eddie, we're at a creek in a river, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're in your Parker, and you pull up to a pier, right? A standard pier that comes off the shore, let's say 60 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at that pier, and the shallows around where the pier starts, it's 2 to 3 feet, and then it drops down to 11 feet. How are you approaching that? And then with which lure, and what's going to be your way of breaking down that water?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not eligible for question of the night. I mean,
yeah, that is a good one. That is a good one.
That I just
yeah. No, so that's a good one. So, couple things to look at. If the wind, where the wind's coming from, also, if it's dead calm, you can target either side of the dock because it really doesn't matter with where you start. But if you're the wind's coming through, kind of I don't know which side you would call it, but the side where the current's flowing from, the other side, the calmer side. Now where the wind's hitting first, the other side of that dock. I would use the torpedo spin really first as my go-to. Throw it kind of like midway down where you'd think it was 2 to 3 feet, and let it sit, let it fall 5 seconds, get it to the bottom, and kind of slowly retrieve and tap it back. So it's kind of falling down that ledge while they're, to try to see if there are any fish there. I do it more horizontal, actually.
Okay.
Nowadays, or when it was warmer, I do more vertical, kind of as soon as it hit, because they'd be more up in the water column. But me and Steve, when we were out, Steve Kahn from High Octane, noticed that you really, to keep it on the bottom, you wanted to do it horizontal, so it was just kind of skipping off the bottom, and you weren't getting too much height. So it was just easier to keep contact on the bottom.
Interesting. That's really good. I just learned something. What'd you say? We're going to go to question of the evening in just a second. So here's your last chance to get the questions in. Before we do that, Eddie, let's talk about your apparel, which is incredibly comfortable, awesome looking, and have you looking great out there on the water and feeling great. And
I appreciate it.
Let's talk about those things. First, your apparel, and then High Octane.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so we got my snakehead shirts still in stock. I got a few of my so the snakehead shirts are snakehead fishing, hooked forever, with a kayak and a snakehead on the back. Super comfortable, short sleeves, long sleeves. Also have the Severn River angler stuff. If you know anyone that fishes the Severn, loves the Severn, it's really just to take pride in the river, which I've grown up on and loved, and fish as much as I can. More short sleeves than long sleeves than that, but still some stuff available. And
hey, winter's not gonna go forever.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And hey, they're great around their house shirts, man. They're so comfortable.
Man, it's my chill shirt. It's so comfortable to chill. Yeah. And where can people see this stuff? So we can do more than just sort of describe it. Where can people go and have a look? And
yeah, absolutely. So go to my Instagram, which is on the page here, Severn River Angler. I also have SRA-apparel on Instagram, which is just all the shirts and stuff like that, just my apparel brand. So you can go there as well. Message me on Facebook, message me on Instagram, either one, and we can go from there.
Well, tell us that we got about a minute. Tell us about High Octane Custom Baits. They certainly make some great stuff, but let's hear it from the pro staff, the Severn River Angler.
Absolutely. I mean, we're coming out with some really nice, cool new stuff too very soon. and for this upcoming year, and it's just really, really strong stuff for snakehead. I mean, my Frogzilla, the high octane Frogzilla is my favorite frog. If you look through, I've been doing kind of a 25 days of lures on Instagram, and I mean, there's a lot of high octane stuff on there because it just works. So check them out at highoctanecb.com and check it out. They're still got a sale through until Christmas, 50% off of all hollow bodies. So that's quite a sale there.
Good stuff. Got a quick question, so we have a little bit more to choose from for question of the night, and then we're going to go straight into question of the night. Captain Massa, our Georgia inshore correspondent from Georgia, asks, do you wear bibs to stay warm, and if so, how insulated are they?
You know what? I don't. I have been looking into some bibs, but I do like if it's really cold, just like fleece line pants for sure, windbreaker kind of fleece line pants, and like an Under Armour fleece like tight pants under that. But I have been looking into some bibs. So if you got some suggestions, let me know. I know my buddy Billy just picked up some really nice ones, which he loves. But I do need to get some bibs for sure.
All right. Well, we got 3 questions for question of the night. SRA, you got one picked out. We'll do a little drum roll real quick.
Yeah,
for $25 off of Hook Optics.
Let's do. I like the one that came in the end, the bibs, because it reminded me what I needed to get actually.
All right, Captain Massa, I'm going to be on you hard because the Hook Optics, dude, are the bomb, and like I can't believe I haven't already forced him to buy a pair already. So that's you know, he's a great captain and a great member of this team, as are you, Eddie Weber. So
appreciate it. Appreciate you guys.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip and have a Merry Christmas, and tell your family Merry Christmas from the Fishing Channel.
Will do. Appreciate it. Tell Lady C we say hello.
She's right here.
Thank you, Eddie.
You're welcome.
All right, brother.
Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Hey, take care.